Welcome to Trust the Cones.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, how you been?
I've been good, how about you?
Can't complain. I finally got my second X-Pass. So
Yeah. Who gets credit for that one?
this guy right here.
So, I've become obsessed with the whole EX Pass structure. First of all, let's get it out of the way. It's terrible.
Oh,
We hate it.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, we'll talk later about how our group did getting passes. Every family got split up pretty much. People are rating at bad times. We were talking in the car before about how it's going to come a point pretty soon where people don't want to take half days to get Mewtwo.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gotten a pass yet, you're going to get it and have no one to raid with because no one wants to come. So it's a very flawed system.
To say the least.
Yeah. That said, I wanted to crack it, you know, and kind of abuse it or whatnot.
I think you were very successful in doing it.
I feel great about what we did. So I was kind of on it a little bit before it kind of broke everywhere else. My problem is I was targeting parks that were too new. So they were open street maps and everything, but they were more new. I had the concept right, I had the distance right, and then all of a sudden Sylph Road had all the research start coming out. I don't have usernames offhand, I'll link everything in the comments. The study that was done first to see the Singapore, you know, the different S12 cells, and they were all different S2 level 12 cells. And then the guy from Australia who figured out that you know, the numbers in each cell and basically what qualified as a park. And that was it, you know. There's the overpass tools out. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details. Nick from Trainer Tips did such an amazing job.
He really did,
I mean, honestly, like that's a video you should, I'll link that as well. It's a must watch if you haven't watched it yet. It really explains the concept. So we took all that and we mapped out our whole area. So we spanned parts of 2 counties and a decent amount of towns. And what I did is I looked at every single thing that's considered a park. Got a second screen, looked at every single gym. What gyms fell in those parks. Got a third screen, which cells are there. And we went systematically and mapped out how many gyms were in each cell, specifically looking for gyms with 1 or 2 cells as they are the best. We got together with all of our trainers and figured out when there had been past the X-Passes issued. We figured out the patterns for the local Starbucks and tried to get some feel for the patterns of some of the other places. After that, we put a plan into motion to test it.
Yeah.
So I think over the course of 2 days, there are about 80 different trainers and probably more accounts even on top of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That hopped on and off our little raid train. And not only that, we got help from the Northeast Philly Discord as well, where there was a gym that's a little bit out of my range, but you know, I kind of let them know this is a really great target. And they were able to do that. We found some cool stuff. There's a park 3 minutes from my house, and it has 6 gyms. It's really active. It's a wonderful place to walk around and play. Gold there and everything.
Yeah.
So the first thing I see is that's in the EX park. I got super excited. Then I realized all 6 gyms are in 1 cell. So we wanted to experiment with places like that and see if we could actually force it. So in that park, we did all 6 gyms with lobbies that were 20 plus.
Easy, yeah.
And I think they knew 30 plus in some cases. You know, we had big numbers. We forced nothing.
Nothing.
And this is a place that we've rated at high numbers since raids have come out.
I think since the beginning of X-Ray passes, we always thought that that's definitely going to be one of the places to go.
And it seems like for whatever reason we're not triggering it there. So I don't know whether it's a cell issue or there's something that's preventing the park from doing it, but regardless, that didn't work for us. There's 2 other parks we looked at with multiple gyms. So in one of them, we hit one of the gyms. Big lobby, nothing happened. So my running theory right now is there's a gym that's EX eligible within like a cell, and if you don't hit the right gym, you're not gonna force it. Another failure we had was a park with 4 gyms that has had an EX raid before. So we hit the EX raid gym really hard and we hit a different one really hard. No success there either. The locals want to keep hitting it, obviously, because they had success there, but I really don't think it's the best target because I think you're going to be playing a guessing game of which one of these 4 gyms is going to be the right one. There's a town by us that has a few parks that kind of overlap cells, and each cell has 5 gyms. They've gotten 2 EX passes at one gym, 1 at another one, and they've gotten it in pretty short time frame. So we hit those parks. really, really hard. I think there was one group that was like 60 something.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of it.
Yeah, I wasn't part of that one either. But
it was a really big group. Didn't go. So I think they're going to keep trying that one. And I'd like to figure out if we can get a pattern. It would be really nice to know whether gym is pre-selected and it rotates, or whether or not it's just random at the beginning of the week.
Depending on how many go or whatever.
So those were our big failures. Let's talk about the successes. So we had a cell where there had been an EX gym on Christmas Day. So based on that, assuming that it would alternate, there's 2 gyms in the cell. So assuming it would alternate one to the other each week, the other gym should have been the target.
Mm-hmm.
We actually targeted both just to see what would happen. The second gym has an EX rate. Mm-hmm. It's big. There were a lot of people from our group. We hit it twice, and I would say 50-some% of the people who rated there and didn't get an EX pass elsewhere got an EX there. Yeah. So what we think we have now is a cell with 2 gyms that have both EX pass now that we can go to every single week and force them. On that note, we think we can force times. What we found is in the number of passes that we got, they were all very close to the lobbies that we spiked. Yeah. And we had huge lobbies, a lot of people. So we think that by targeting this one cell again in the future, we already hit it with a 40+ lobby at night. We're going to keep trying and see if we can get an evening raid or even like a 4 o'clock EX raid. Another success we had was a cell with 1 gym, and it had been an EX raid before. We targeted it, we hit it really hard. It was another 40-some person raid. What was significant about this one is we didn't have the huge lobby. We had a bunch of lobbies of like 6 to 10, mm-hmm. and we got it. Yep. It was another pass where it was close to 50%. I think it was a little bit less. I think it was like 48% of trainers who didn't get an EX pass elsewhere got an EX pass there. So that one we think we can trigger every 2 weeks. It's in a Doylestown area. It's a very heavily played gym, so we think they'll keep targeting it and keep getting it.
Yeah. One thing I was kind of surprised at, I got my X Pass for Montgomeryville Mall.
Yeah.
And I was part of this raid training, so I did raids at, a bunch of the other parks that got it.
Right.
Ones that where I was a gold badge in, where I thought I would have gotten the pass, I didn't. But the one where I got it, I was just barely silver on that gym. So kind of makes it seem to me as if they're giving the passes out to people that are newer to that gym as well too, or at least a majority, not necessarily all of them, but a higher number of people that are newer to a gym.
So by my count right now, in the gyms that we worked on, there's 65 passes. Mm-hmm. And no, there's more than that. Except the other group, 85 passes. And I know of one who was in a gold in the gym. Yeah. And like Bill said, there were quite a few people who were gold at the gym, didn't get that raid, but got it
somewhere else.
Yeah, very interesting. The Starbucks and the sprints, I think we have down pretty well. I think what's going to happen is they're going to pop every 2 weeks. So you work on one, when it's EX, you work on the next one. And you kind of alternate back and forth. In both of the ones where our group got passes from, we spiked the lobby.
Yeah.
And it was in both cases, it was large lobbies, and we think that'll contribute to it. So that's interesting. To me, the most interesting one we had was the Northeast Philly raid group.
Yes.
So they raided a smaller park. It's the only one in its cell. It had never been in the EX gym before. And they hit it with a series of smallish lobbies. Mm-hmm. They never had that big spike lobby. They never even had a raid where they had more than, I think, 12 people do it. So I don't know that we always need the huge lobby. The huge lobby seems to help, and it seems to be a big correlation, but it isn't a be-all and end-all kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that one's really interesting, and we're going to keep watching that. There's a few I'm targeting this week where I think we'll have consistent like 12 to 16 people, but not much higher than that. So I want to see what happens with those.
And look at the numbers.
Yeah, and kind of see if we're able to force them. There's 2 gyms that I was sure were going to be EX raids. One of them has been an EX raid before, and it's the only one in its cell. The other one has not been, but it's the only one in its cell. It's clearly in a park. There's nothing that would prevent it. Neither popped, and we're not really sure why.
Yeah.
So we're going to try it again this week, and in both cases, we're hoping that maybe it's on a bi-weekly schedule and we hit the off week. So in total, it seems that about, I think the number I'm seeing right now is like 47% of people who do a raid get an EX pass. And this is a very specific 47%. It's if you do a raid and that raid gets invites, then you have the chance. So I think there are some raids at EX gyms that don't give invites. So you go, you do the raid, an invite goes out, but that particular raid
didn't do anything for that pass.
It could also be a sample of no one got one because everyone didn't, you know, could be a lot of different things. But that's what I'm working at. So, but what we're seeing is it seems to be in the high 40s of what we're getting. I'm also seeing really low numbers for level 40s compared to everything else, which is interesting. And I think some of it's selection bias because all the 40s, I know them, we talk to each other, we recognize each other at the raids and such. So it's very easy for me to know exactly how many of them raided at each location and get exact numbers. Whereas for some of the more casual players, you know, maybe someone hit a sand slash that we have no idea happened, you know, or like a family decided to hit like a war tornado. So I don't know. So we're never gonna have the right numbers, but early on, it seems to me I'm seeing a trend of 40s looking much more like 25 to 30% than 50%.
For the longest time, I was thinking that there was one specific raid that was triggering the X passes too, but that was obviously disproven in this last wave as well too.
Yeah, so every single one we hit had at least one person from a different raid who wasn't in our big raid. So that was a really big finding too. I mean, it makes sense to hit an EX gem, even if it's not the raid that everyone else is doing. Even if it's not one that triggers it, you can still get in.
Get yourself in the pool for a chance at it. So, and again, it's just a chance at it. So it's not an exact science yet, but if you haven't gotten a pass yet and you want to give yourself the best opportunity, it's definitely the way to do it.
So I've heard a lot of people talk about triggering and not triggering, and I've seen a lot of arguments of, oh, you didn't trigger it, it was just RNG. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you triggered it or not. It really is completely irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, if you raid at EX eligible gyms with the right amount of people at the right times, you're more likely to get an EX pass.
Absolutely.
So whether you triggered it or RNG, you're putting yourself in the best place, which is what we really did.